and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. H.P. Lovecraft. Everyone fears something. Fear is built into us, and if you are really lucky, it will not consume you. There is a niggle at the back of your brain, reminding you not to hang your legs off the bed, not to look behind you as you run up the stairs after turning off the light. When passing a mirror, you hope it was only your reflection you see. That inch of movement you think you seen from the corner of your eye. That blood run cold feeling you get for no reason. That is fear. Welcome to a look into the unknown, where fear is always on the cards. Welcome to Paranormal Power.
Good evening, everyone. It's Kev here, J-Mac, Kieran, and Fee. As always.
It's like some kind of death metal.
Below the microphones already.
Yeah.
We should change your three names to FIFO Fum.
Yeah, that's my Instagram name, Fee545. And apparently no one gets the reference. And I was like, how does no one know that? Right?
Because people are stupid now. Hi, everybody.
Nobody smelt the blood of an Englishman.
Yeah. So we're gathered here tonight to talk about the afterlife and what happens when you're dead. I was actually, while I was just kind of cleaning up this episode a wee bit, I heard a previous episode. Listen, this was when we actually caught a ghost on audio.
Okay. Yeah,
Hear it just in a second.
Revisiting right here. The only thing, there's a bag of rope and some tie downs and a whole bunch of paint cans.
I'm pretty confident it would not be a body.
It's coming.
It's Serbian indeed, man. It's Ser. But I'm dead though. I'm definitely dead.
Mate, caught on audio.
I reckon that guy's definitely dead, by the way. He is definitely dead.
He did say that.
Ken, how I used to be alive.
I'm no.
Now I'm no.
So I wanted to do this kind of episode for a while because everybody kind of, it's funny, even way back when, long before our time, it's always been a thing like, well, you're dead, but you're not really dead because you're still kind of kicking about in some fashion. So the afterlife and the theory of it has always kind of prodded away at us as living beings, right? And I always think to myself, right, if I died, you just continue on with the paranormal part, I'd be like, whoa, lads, I'm dead. And it's all right up here. Do you know what I mean? I've just seen Philip Schofield. he's giving us a hug.
Even though I asked him not to.
And I did come back as my 5-year-old self. Oh, no, I spelt my tea.
Allegedly.
Okay. Kieran's he's back. So
No, I'm back.
Yes.
That was me playing with it. Just dying. That was me actually playing with it.
Right, wait till the show's finished. Eh? That's why he turned the camera off. We mentioned Phil Schofield. He's straight away playing it.
Yep.
That's so bad.
I know. That's funny.
It seems like the problems that Kieran has seems to start when we go live for some reason. There's something weird going on. But he seems to have he's caught up again, I think.
Maybe it's a default.
It's weird. Anyway, we'll fucking power through it this time, right?
So
let's go.
There are many
My
different
haunting
beliefs, and this is why I couldn't really do this episode without Kieran being here, because I need somebody to ground me a wee bit, because I'm up in the air. I'm up in the air, and I'm like, I know there's stuff, man. There has to be stuff, And I would like to kind of sometimes be grounded on that, because when I chat about it to everybody, they just kind of go along with it, and they take what I say and go, that's cool. At least with Kieran, he can give me some sort of background as to why this might actually be the case. However, it might just no be quite what I think it is, or it might be. So I'll be interested. I also want to know, like, we'll even start here. For the listeners at home. So I will start, right, and we'll go around clockwise. And the question is, do you believe in the afterlife? I do. J-Mac?
Yes.
Fee?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Viking?
Yep, I do.
Yep. So we're all firm believers. And a lot of people say, well, it's not very scientific, but I think it actually is. It is scientific. Like,
There's been a lot of scientific studies on it, and there has been evidence to show that there certainly are physiological things and neurological things that happen to you after you die. So is it maybe just that people are seeing as the afterlife? Maybe no. We shall dive into it all, I'm sure.
So let's look at the religious perspective, right? Was it so? According to them, according to the book of Jibber, right?
I've not heard that in years.
You have to be good, follow the rules, and then when you die, you go up to heaven, where you'll see God and Jesus and everybody you've ever loved. But you've not to be bad, because Jesus died for your sins. But if he died for your sins, then surely, if you're good, he died for nothing, which then makes you bad. No, I'm confused. I'm confused.
What you mean? Religion
That's
is
a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
You mean religion is full of hypocrisy and ridiculous things? No,
Contradiction.
no.
Can it be? What are all your thoughts on the religious theory?
Well, the fact that the good book says that somebody walked on water and fed 5,000 folk with 2 fish and a loaf. I'm not allowed to have a crafty chuck when there's nobody in. There's something wrong with the whole concept of religion, in my opinion. I think religion is the cause of basically every major conflict in history until America got involved. Then it became oil, and I think that religion, to me, should be treated the same way as Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. It's things that you're taught as children to make you behave in a certain way, to teach you life lessons, right? And then you should get to an age where you go, well, bloody pish, but I got some good things from it. But no, you've got 65-year-old women going into a building every Sunday, holding their hands in the air. No, fucking take me soon, because I can't even arse shite in the bed anymore. It's
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
I think it has its place in life, but I think at some point you should get to an age where you're like, I can't believe I believe that, man.
Fee, you seemed a bit shocked when he said that it should be kind of lamped up with Santa Claus and Easter Bunny and Bigfoot. Just kidding. That was me. What are your thoughts on J-Mac's thoughts?
I mean, that's just because he was dissing Santa. Like, I mean, come on.
Don't diss Santa, man. He is real.
Hey, I love Santa.
Right?
I'm slowly turning into him.
Scott Calvin?
Oh, nicely done.
I'm in big trouble. Mm-hmm.
Kieran, what are your thoughts on J-Mac's thoughts there with religion?
I think
Hard.
there's a fundamental issue with wholehearted belief, and I'm not just picking on Christianity as a whole, because all religions as an individual denomination have that blind belief without question. That includes things like I don't know, the Allah and his virgins, and and all these kind of things, like, and again, if this is your logic and you want to go and strap yourself to a jetpack, on you go. But you're not getting any virgins out of it, and if you do, you've clearly not seen a virgin. But that I say that obviously lightheartedly, because there's obviously the religious denominations that are very pleasant in society and actually do very good things, but they're their blind belief in. I was going to call it the president. I'm going to call it the presidential suite of life, of where they think that your spirit resides and where you ascend to. I think is fundamentally flawed. That you think that there's somewhere better to go, so it gives you an excuse to treat people like shit while you're here.
Yeah.
That's,
That's
pretty good.
I was going to say something. I was going to kind of chime in, but let's get wee fee. Get wee fee.
Oh.
Get wee feet to do what?
Wee big fee.
Explain. What's your perspective?
Aye, explain your perspective. She hasn't done it yet. All she did was talk about Santa Claus.
That's so true. I do like. I was brought up Catholic, so I do believe that there is something, but I'm not entirely sure what. Like, I don't. I'm not saying that it's just like one specific guy who like made the world and heaven and all that. But I do definitely think you do go somewhere, because I feel like if not, then what's the point? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to think there's something.
Well, I seen a video the day, and it was quite heartbreaking. It was a fish that didn't lay eggs; it just gave birth, right? and the second it gave birth, another fish ate it. And I thought, well, what was the fucking point in that?
Well,
Like,
that's brutal,
right?
That big fish was like
preservation, preservation of species. That's called.
Right. So
where your sole purpose is to just continue the line of a species, which most actual animals have. The only animal that doesn't is us, because we're the ones that deemed ourselves too intelligent to think there's more to life than that.
Mm-hmm.
That is your presence of life, is to continue your genetic lineage and ensure that the strongest of each genetic lineage survives to the next offspring and the next genetic linkage availability. Other than that, we put meaning on it by having good jobs and watching good things on the TV and finding good movies to watch and talking to good pals about spooky shit. That's what we put a list on it. But there is no fundamental rationale for life. There isn't.
So we've done it to ourselves, basically. Then,
yeah, it's all human, and it's all human wanting to be wanting to be the be all and end all of everything, and having to put ourselves at the center of our own universe.
I think the only people that do seem to kind of mindlessly procreate and then die is the unemployed. But that's just an opinion.
Or do they actually do it correctly?
No.
Well, it's fair to ask. It's fair to ask.
It's fair to answer.
Because what? So is the betterment, the advance, are we supposed to continuously be upgrading ourselves so the next generation is better, smarter, stronger than the last?
So
that is not happening.
Adapt to survive.
Yeah.
Animals, basically, yeah.
Yeah, but it tends to not happen though, or maybe it did to a certain point where they were like, "Fuck this," pressed a wee button, boom, restart, and here we are.
I think what's happening is it was kind of getting to the point where people were getting too smart for the government's own good, so we're deliberately being dumbed down as a society now with things like scrolling videos, for example.
Chemtrails, fluoride in the water.
Oh fuck! I don't believe in that shit.
You just pretty much said it.
I don't believe in that. That's no, I don't believe in that. I do believe that airplanes cause some kind of.
You do know that there is
disturbance
fluoride in the water, though. That's a fact.
Oh, I know that's a
fluoride's also a naturally occurring mineral that your body needs to survive.
Does it?
But yeah,
does it?
I don't know.
I'm not arguing. I'm just what?
Your teeth an animal. This shit. That's what it's made from.
So without
fluoride is the founding factor that creates healthy tooth in an animal.
So an animal.
An animal.
The thing is though, is it the government's like? Should they not also then just chuck a couple of vitamins, some vitamin C, if it was their job to make sure that we had all we needed?
Maybe a vaccine.
Surely they should just shove all that in there as well. I mean, that's another argument. But so without fluoride, like before we had it in our water, before it was all pumped into your house. How did they survive without it before, or was that
just had bad teeth?
We didn't. It was just either
well, they did
crappy teeth, but it was in your food. Your food isn't as nutritious as it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Here's another thing. Our teeth would be good. My dentist says to me, "Do you know, if there was no such thing as sugar, we wouldn't be in jobs. People from years back who
Yeah.
never had sugar would never need a dentist because it's sugar
No.
that's the issue.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's like a control thing, but like if we were all healthy, there wouldn't be as many companies and pharmaceuticals, going about, which means that's how the world is, isn't it?
I think,
But
I
then the
think
world,
with-
the world would always rely on that because there's always going to be
Yeah.
like, yes, you are really healthy. Like people like world class athletes, they're amazing, but there's this little powder that makes you better. Everybody wants that. Everyone wants it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how healthy and how successful you are. If somebody comes along and tells you there's something better, you're going to want that.
That's 100% true.
no,
But
always.
I think what we're doing, I think we might have actually, excuse me, we might have accidentally strayed into another podcast.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying,
just before we jump back, I want to answer one thing actually, the chemtrail thing, because there's something really interesting about that people don't know. That okay, there is things released by burning kerosene, which is jet fuel. Most of that is water, liquid vapor, which obviously condenses any gaseous element within its environment to create a liquid, which usually becomes carbonic acid and things like that are naturally occurring, but they just increase velocity. But governments all over the world, particularly in Central America and Asia and Africa, release silver nitrate into the atmosphere deliberately by planes because it creates the formation of clouds to create rainfall. You don't
That's
see people
nice.
pissing. You don't see people pissing and moaning about that though.
Legends, man.
It also kills vampires.
Coincidence?
Mhm.
I think not. So that was my little.
So bad.
Class. I'm looking forward to our next episode about conspiracies that will be banned because the last one got banned. Not even allowed to show it. You know that?
Actually,
Actually,
That's right.
gone.
You know you're making waves when your episodes get banned.
oh my god.
Yep.
Oh, that could be our next
Yeah,
episode then for sure.
Aye, it'll have to be enjoyed live because once we hit that fine end show button, boom, it goes down the black hole, never to be seen again. No joke, man. It makes me feel a little important. No, you didn't. You're bothered about us. So the
Afterlife.
idea, the idea of an afterlife being something that is, religious, because I do believe that maybe right. So here's kind of when I sat on the whole Jesus thing, right?
Jeebus.
So if God gave me free will, he gave me free will to go, that sounds like a load of pish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm thinking this, Jesus, it's because of you, right? You guys gave it to me. I do believe in a higher power of some kind. However, I'm not going to take it from the establishment. They're not going to tell me what it is. I'll just kind of figure that shit out for myself, and I'll go with the senses that Jahibus gave me, and I'll just kind of figure that shit out for there. So I remember one time playing a Pokemon game on my Game Boy, and then you used to be able to go into a wee slot machine, right? In the wee arcade. I think it was Pokemon Yellow I was playing, right? And I'm like,
yellow.
all right, and I'm sitting there against my radiator going, Jesus, if you're real, make this next spin a jackpot, right? If religion's real, I'll press this one button, it'll give me a jackpot, right? And I'll know it's real. Boom, jackpot. I was like, motherfucker! From there, I was like, right, Pokemon, mate. I learned everything I need to know from Pokemon.
So not only can he feed 5,000 people with 2 fish and a loaf of bread, walk on water, he can also manipulate Game Boys. This is just, that's the most phenomenal thing out of all of them.
That is a true higher power right there.
There's enough to be said to go, well, wait a minute. What you see everywhere on Earth is suffering, right? So if God is real, he's probably a fucking loony. Yeah.
He's like the Eternals, just doesn't jump in.
Well, doesn't he jump in? But fuck me, like there's a page I follow on Instagram called Nature is Metal, and it just shows you what real nature, because we're led to believe, and here we see the little thing running away, right? And lives all happily ever after. No, God damn it. I was lied to, because this page shows me everything, and it's horrible. Horrible.
Nature is brutal.
Nature is amazing.
I've seen a deer given birth right? And a pack of hyenas being like, "Give me that, rip it right out, and then rip it to bits, and then rip
He
the
was like,
mum up."
oh, vending machine.
Right? Yes, right. And I heard this old saying.
It's a free vendy. Everybody batter in.
Bendy.
What do they call it? What's chaos for the fly is what heaven for a spider, to that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
We're
So
just used to being the spider.
say again.
So we're just used to being the spider.
Correct. And I think okay, so there's a ton of suffering. You know, I've seen a cow. It got bit off one of these beard, like a dragon, Komodo dragon or something like that. Bit it, but then it follows the cow for ages, and then the cow will fall down and be paralyzed. And then it just starts eating bits off the cow. The cow's like, oh, and it's just like, I'll just take that. I'll just take that. Oh.
It's the bacterial assemblage it has in its saliva that it slowly diminishes the cow's ability to move. It doesn't shut down its neurological pathways, so the cow is entirely conscious as it's being eaten.
See that? That is proof that God doesn't exist, because that is needlessly cruel. Right? If you've got saliva that's that poisonous, make it anesthetic as well.
Aye. Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
I get your point,
I mean-
but
Matthewman says if God's a real dude, he's clearly fucking psychotic. Correct. This is.
well, you'd have to be a controlling power, because you have to take morals out of it. As soon as you start putting morals into an equation of control, you lose control.
Yeah.
That's true.
You can't control. I'm a CEO of a massive company, and if I treat every single person fairly, I'll get the best results. You don't. You have to reduce morality out of a situation.
Kind of gash, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Wee bit.
So, what's the next? Are we going to stay in religion for a wee while?
That was a terrible segue, J Mac.
No, it's not a segue, because I'm still quite interested in the religion.
I know
stuff.
we're still
Talking about it.
pretty much where we are with religion. Has anybody here had any real religious experiences?
I'm shit scared of churches.
I've got
Not
the
a
opposite
joke.
thing. I mean,
Not a joke.
yeah. Why? Where did your fear come from? Do you know?
Not a clue. Not a clue.
Churches.
I genuinely have this. No, it's this feeling of every time when I actually go into one, it's this feeling of like, you know, like a cat's hackles raised, that sort of scenario. And I'm like, I need to get out of here. I just need to leave. Don't know what causes it. I've never had a bad experience. I've never had a rationale. Yes, I'm shit scared of nuns as well. Thanks, wife.
And nuns.
Right.
Michaela's the
I
best.
hid behind my 5'4" wife in an airport in Bratislava because there were some nuns walking through it, and that is not a joke.
He was having none of that.
Hey! No, I've never had a rational reason. I am just that aversion. Like I need to get out. Don't know what caused it. Never known.
Check for a wee 666 on your body. Get Michaela to kind of next time she's washing her hair in the bath. Get her
I kind of have the opposite thing. Although I'm not a believer in God, I do find churches really peaceful.
I think it's after Home Alone.
Very possibly, by the way. There's just something calming about being in a church, especially if there's nobody else in it. Like one of the coolest places I've ever been. It was back in 1996, 97. My grandma had a really bad stroke and she was in hospital in the Glasgow Royal. And like a lot of hospitals do, they have a chapel in it. Now, most hospital chapels are just a room with an altar and some pews. This one is a full-blown, or certainly was at the time, full-blown chapel. Like you can't believe that you're actually in a hospital. You walk in and it's you could swear that you're in a totally different location.
Why are you laughing?
No, I was thinking about something else, and I started laughing, and I saw you laughing at me, and I thought, "What have I done?"
I was laughing. You were laughing.
Sorry, J-Mac.
Sorry, keep going, J-Mac. Sorry.
So, aye. So you go in there. There's not necessarily there's no priests around all the time, and a lot of the time they're empty. So at the time I would have been maybe like 13. and I would just go in there and sit and just admire and feel
really?
comfortable in it without praying and stuff like that. Because even by that point in my life, I was like, bullshit.
Well,
But yeah, I do find them really peaceful.
it is quite sound, like going into a church. I think there is so much of an atmosphere there that is quite calming. Here's what if you work in a church, what does that make you? Pastor?
Well, it depends on the religion.
Right, but say you don't really practice religion, but you work in a church. What's like the
Johnny?
no. Something else.
Housekeeper?
No. I mean, you're technically in charge of the church. What does that make you?
God.
Aye.
I'll take it. I'm like, am I technically a pastor? Did I fall into being a pastor?
I'm going to call you Pastor Kevin from now on. That is it.
That's the cave. Yeah.
Thank you, son.
I'm going to call you Cheesy Pastor.
Cheesy pastor. That's a Matthew Man art piece right there, isn't it? Cheesy pastor. That's kind of what I was laughing at when I thought about that. No, you're right.
I should clear that up.
Do you think
Poor
as well,
J-Max trying to pour his heart out and Kev just like...
I tried to keep it all in. It was Fee that broke down.
As soon as I see
witnessed
something
it happening.
laughing.
She witnessed it
I
happening.
seen your face change and I was like, oh no, he's gonna go.
Oh, Fee, if you were struggling not to laugh then, imagine that time I farted talking to John Edmonds.
Who's now on the other side?
Yeah.
Oh, no, see, on that note, I got a really random email just before like we came on here, and it was from an email address called Rancid Farts, and I was like, I'll send you a screenshot.
What was it for?
Like gut health, but like I never signed up to that.
You totally did.
At some point in the last 2 weeks, you have Googled why are my pumps so stinky?
Take it for J-Mac. Did someone say Kev there? Did someone say Kev there? Am I losing it?
I think Kieran did.
No, I
Oh,
did.
God.
I was going to say, do me a favour and pull up this place called Hallgrimskirkja. It's a...
Spell that.
It's a HALL Grim S.
Oh yeah, I see it.
So it's
I see it now.
Hallgrimskirk. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
a,
You
it's
want
a
me to put
huge,
images.
it's a Lutheran church. It's a huge Lutheran church in Reykjavik, and it's one of the biggest churches I've ever come across and went into. And it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful,
nasty.
but it still had that weird kind of feeling. But J-Max, see when you were talking about that room you were talking about in the hospital, do they have that thing where there's like a wee chest and there's loads of wee candles and everyone lights a candle and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's very common in chapels.
It is,
particularly,
yeah.
believe.
I don't understand what it's for, but this place is beautiful.
It's something to do like you light a candle to remember past loved ones and stuff.
Yeah.
Or you can like
yeah.
do it as just like a prayer for someone who's like still alive and stuff as well.
Remember the bit in the Highlander where the Kurgan walks into the church and just starts pitting them all out? It's like,
Hey, this looks like a nice place, eh? It looks like a rock.
It's gorgeous. It's got a huge, rather than a statue of any religious figure outside, it's a statue of a Viking. It's actually incredible.
My God.
Beautiful place.
Have any of you guys been to St. Patrick's in New York? It's stunning.
no.
I don't think so.
It's really stunning.
Why did I just say that, man? Did anybody else catch that? Did anybody else catch that?
I did
It was a wee cartoon pump. I can even hear the noise it made. It went.
Was that real or did you just make that?
I just made it watch it.
I don't know.
He's that good, he farts on command.
You can never tell.
I used to be able to burp on command. My nickname at school was Pardon.
I have a friend who could fart on cue, and I used to always be like,
Oh,
"Come on, just do it. Just do it." I used to be, "Man, just do it." He's like, "No." I'm like, "Just do it, man. Do it." I was like, "See if I had your superpower." He's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
We
Kev,
need more
honestly, man,
girls on this
This
show.
is jealousy.
you just have this power to get people to do things they don't want to do just by looking at them with that fucking mad eye. You're like Mad Eye Moody. You just look at them with this fucking eye and get them to do stuff. It's phenomenal. I'm
What's
still
your name
doing
now?
this
Pastor
podcast, for
Moody.
fuck's sake.
Pastor Moody.
Pastor Moody. Cheesy Pastor Moody.
Pastor Foodie.
God dang. God dang.
So
I
that place looks phenomenal. I've been to Reykjavik once, but it was like a layover flight, so I didn't get to go anywhere. I was just stuck in the airport that was just fully brown carpet.
Yeah.
And it,
Yeah.
Is it still like that?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Was the last time I was there anyway?
Is my chewing gum still stuck under fucking seat 3 A3?
No, I got
I've
that.
got it here.
Cool.
it tasted phenomenal.
Hubba bubba, if I remember correctly.
So,
Get this right.
Hmm.
I'm going to admit something to you here, right? It's quite a sad story, but it's got a wee bit of chuckle to it, and he would have been sound with it. I once threatened to shave a dead guy's eyebrows off to see if he would wake up. He never woke up, and it was at that point I lost faith in folk no being dead.
wait a minute.
Start again. What?
Wait a fucking minute. Who? When? Why?
And how?
So I had a friend who died. Right, I went to see his body, and I was like,
Did you
This
shave
is
his
fu-
fucking eyebrows off?
"No, I just threatened to." Right?
Oh, I thought you meant you genuinely did it.
No,
The way you
no.
were telling that
Really?
story, you sounded like you did.
Oh, maybe it was my connection.
Poor boy's lying there like this. Kev's like, nah, he's definitely deep. He'd have been raging with that, like he's deep.
So he was lying there, and I'm like, at this point, I understand death, but I never comprehended it. Never looked at someone who, like, a day ago, 2 days ago, I saw active. I walk in and he's lying there, and I'm like, the first time I ever seen someone with knowing there. Like, even though he was dead, he wasn't there. It was like strange as fuck to look at. If anybody's seen a dead body,
Empty.
aye, it's like void of whatever was that made them them. It's now just a body, and that body doesn't resemble who I remember. It's his features, but it's not him. So I'm like, bullshit, man. It's no deed. Even though he's lying there, right? And I'm like, a couple of my other friends came in, and I'm like, let's shave his eyebrows. And I bet he'll jump up and be like, I'm no deed. And then I'm like, I'm going to shave your eyebrows. And he was still dead. So it was at that point I was like,
Mate, imagine that actually worked though, right?
Oh, fuck!
Imagine every episode of Casualty, right? They try CPR, then they get the paddles out like poof, 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 clear, poof, clear. Poof. Right, last attempt, guys. Get the fucking clippers out.
That's a mad one.
So I'm sorry, we tried everything. We tried to defib. Last resort was we shaved his eyebrows off, and he's still gone.
We only done one, hoping he'd have to get up and take the other one off his cell, but nah.
It's like we did everything we could. What'd you do? Brawn.
That's quite a thing. And that for me was the first time I was like, right. And then only recently did I ever get like any kind of spiritualist talk about that person. And they never mentioned eyebrows, but mentioned a couple of other things. So that was fucked up. And then I had sleep paralysis I had a sleep paralysis that was weirdest thing. I had another person I knew that had died. And he died quite grim. Weirdest thing I'm going to tell you is what you want to know. I mean, it all comes under what we're talking about here, right? And this is kind of where I wanted this conversation to kind of go next anyway, is as the different interpretations of what it is once you're dead that folk see or make them believe, right? And one was me. I had a friend that died in a fire. And I'm like, I remember going to sleep one night thinking about him, thinking, that's quite shit. He was all right. He was quite sound. And then I kind of started to fall asleep, and then I kept seeing like a skull on an armchair, right? Strangest fucking weirdest thing, right? And then I could see myself in the bedroom, everything where I am. it's like I was on the ceiling and I'm looking down. I had these Bart Simpson covers. I was in high school, and I can still
Nice.
picture the Bart Simpson covers. I had my guitars all up against the wall and whatnot, and I'm like, wow, I'm looking at myself. I can see myself sleeping, except I can't see my face. I can only see my like being there, and then I felt like real hands shaking me to get up. And then I kind of just woke and was like, what the fuck? And my heart's like, do, 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 do. And I'm like, wow. Like physically, I can feel like that actually happened. Even though I know I've just kind of woke up, I feel like someone's just shooting me. I was like, that's weird as fuck. I was like, strange as fuck, weird. And I felt like it was him. Kind of felt like it was him shaking me. I just knew it, right? And then like,
Well, because you tried to shave his fucking eyebrows off.
mate, his eyebrows were gone. He died in a fire.
Oh, different guy. Sorry.
So the strangest thing is, I found out, like, I don't know how long later, but it was a while later, that his head was stuck in a chair. That's fucked up, right?
Aye.
Oh.
So when I
take
take that story, I'm like, well, what the fuck? I ain't no fucking magician or any of that shit. But when I'm like, wow, that kind of was too spot on for that shit, I was like, I don't claim to be anything. I think something gave something to me, said something to me, and it's shit like that makes me go, wait a minute, and I'll kind of said it here before loads of times.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute. But for anyone that's not heard us talk about this before, as to part of this episode, there's been a few times in life where I've seen things and gone, nah, mate, you ain't explaining that shit. Do you know what I mean? I know a lot of people make shit up. They, oh man, I totally see that. Oh man, fucking next thing I know, they're probing me and that, man. No, right? Because I think it was exciting. I seen something travel across the room at a force, and it was hit right in front of me. It was hit. To the point I was like, wow, like that shit has to be real. And for me, I'm open to something. What it is, I don't think we'll ever know until we're on the other side. But
Yeah.
I think, and I've explored it because I've been searching.
Can I just interject for a wee minute? What's everybody's time scale like tonight? Because I feel like we could talk about this forever, and I want to make sure we kind of get everything in before people have to go.
I've got a while.
Fee?
Yeah, like 10:30-ish.
Okay.
You know.
Kev?
Aye. Aye. I mean, I'm up early as fuck, but it makes no difference.
You don't sleep anyway. Fuck it.
It's
right.
Vampire. That's why I can't go to where they're fucking spraying that sulfite thing.
Just to go back quickly to the religion thing, I had a look at different religions' beliefs and what happens after you die, and something we're probably going to talk about in depth, but reincarnation seems to come up a fair amount with the kind of major religions. But my favorite one was Hinduism. Hinduism, they basically believe that if you are good in life, you will be reincarnated as something good. So just say you're a doctor, you saved so many lives, you're a good person, you'll come back as like an eagle or something, right? If you
doctors, aye, you're using doctors as saints here. Some of them,
right? Nurses, then, right? Nurses I would say nurses have probably got a better moral compass than doctors sometimes, right? So come back as like an eagle, some kind of bird, a butterfly, something beautiful, something that makes people happy. If you are an absolute disgraceful human being, you'll come back as like a dung
single
beetle.
So joking.
Like
joking.
A dung beetle, or I don't know, just like a blue bottle or a Tory voter or something.
Hey, nothing wrong with the
A
Beatles.
slug.
Slug.
Slug. Aye. And I love that. That would give you a real incentive to be good.
Why the
in
fuck
your life.
midges exist?
Imagine coming back as a midgie. Sorry, a midge. I don't know why we all say a midgie, because it's a fucking midge.
Midges are very Scottish term.
It's a plural though, no? Like what's two midges?
Midges.
It's too much.
That's the reason we all think a singular midge is a midgie is because you never see one. you never get bitten by a
A
midge.
midge. A
A
midge.
midge. You know, you get bitten by fucking hundreds of them because
Fuck's that? It's a midge.
aye, they're a bit they're a bit like they're a bit like people that steal scooters. There's never just one of them. You know?
See, in school, someone stole one of my shoes. So for the whole day, I only had one shoe.
Oh, somebody had a fetish. Someone's like, oh, there's big wee fee. I'm going to steal a shoe. Big wee fee.
Fee's feet.
Big wee fee.
Oh, that's
And the reason I say big wee fee is because I was absolutely shocked by your height. I genuinely thought you were like a fucking like a wee thing. Then you show up and you're basically the same height as me.
He thought you were a midget. Turns out you're a daddy long legs. That's quite funny.
Nice.
That's funny.
So I like the Hindu thing. I like the idea of reincarnation in general. I actually love. The idea of reincarnation, past lives. I love past lives.
Oh, I'm glad you
kids
mentioned
kids that remember past lives and stuff.
Well, get this
heard,
right.
Heard a lot about that in the stuff I was looking at.
Mhm.
On
Well,
the end of this.
Somebody says, I can't remember who it was, right? But there's some patter out there in one of the religions that you die, and if you didn't fulfill becoming who you were supposed to be and the type of person you're supposed to be, you go back, right? And you can only ascend once you've completely been
Your
the
purpose.
best human being. Yeah.
Like Groundhog Day.
No, like you live a life, then you get to the end after your deed, you go somewhere before you get to the Valhalla, the Mecca, or the heaven, right? And you're then judged. Here, no, nearly, but no, back down you go, and then you start again, almost like coming out of the Matrix. And that kind of feeds into that the Matrix says that we are everlasting, and what we are here is prisoners. Like we've done something wrong, and I'm like, I've fucking tried my best, man. But you forget everything on the reset, and you're back down you go, because there's parts of me that are drawn to things that I'm like, why?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
old buildings, like see old Edinburgh and shit like that. That does weird shit to me, in a good way. Makes me feel weird ways. Like I know it. Like it's like just see like plant pots outside a window that's like high up, and there's like lanterns lit, and it's not actually like from our time. Like something about that is very familiar to me, which is strange as fuck. You know what I mean?
Well, if you
What-
guys
what-
are
yeah.
up for it, one of my friends does like past life regression as like an actual job. We could all go and like get it done.
Yeah, it's no the soul man, is it?
No. No,
No, no fucking thank you, man.
no. No, moving on.
First thing it's like Kevin, in a past life you were gay.
Right, Phil.
I'm trying so hard not to lose it, guys. Please.
we should. I'd be up for that. But did we not have that guy on before? And he said to you, J Mac, that you're going to die fond on a set of stairs.
Aye, and I said it in a live show. I was like, he said I'm going to
Yeah.
die at 87 falling down a set of stairs. I'm like, I'm not making it to 87. Not a chance in hell. Fucking
But do you
look
know
at me.
what's quite ironic about that? Is you
What?
haven't forgot it.
Of course, I'm
So
not forgetting.
now-
It was ridiculous.
No, but I'm like, but that's no, but so there's it's like suggested behaviour. Like you've been told that in 2 weeks' time something amazing can happen to you. So you're like,
I
oh, that
can
was
just-
2 weeks
I
ago.
can see it
What
happening.
should we
Like,
do?
I can see it. Like, it's my 87th birthday, and I'm going to be like, right, guys, you're going to hear some banging and clattering. Don't worry about it. Just going to find myself down the fucking stairs, right?
It's the day before your 88th birthday, and you're like, fuck it. why not?"
it's like Isa when she gets hit by the car.
Exactly. But the thing is, the power of suggestion can make you believe and do things and put yourselves in situations that you wouldn't normally be in because somebody told you it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's mental. It really is. Moving on. Let's move on for religion, right?
Oh,
So-
can I ask one more thing before we move then?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I was going to ask, do you, talking on like the past life stuff and everything, do you believe that we all come back with the same people? So like a soul kind of bond or whatever, I guess. Do you believe in that?
I hope
Like
so.
in
Like
Hancock.
Hancock.
I don't know. I've not
He
seen
pairs
that.
with her every time. Will Smith
Okay.
before he slapped the shit out of Chris Rock.
Oh, that okay.
Aye,
Like,
he
do you
pairs
believe
with her
in that
every
sort of
time.
thing?
Nah.
I hope
I
so.
can tell you why.
I
can tell you
kind
why.
of do. I kind of do.
Okay.
Like one lifetime with my wife's enough.
No, but I genuinely hope that is the case because I think I'm at a point in my life at this grand old age of 38 that
Yeah, old.
I feel like the only people that are really in my life right now are good people, and it's people that I want to be in it.
Oh.
So I don't really feel, except you, Kevin, I don't really feel the need to find new souls to be part of my existence. So I think that maybe this is my last time. This is my final shot, possibly.
Nah.
Possibly, because I genuinely have no poisonous people in my life, and that I'm happy with. Except Kevin. So, I'm just kidding. Kevin's the one of the fucking major reasons that I'm so content now, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
I'll take that. Thanks, J-Mac. It's like the nicest thing you've said to me all night.
I don't fuck you, dick.
Yeah, easy come, easy go. What was that? That was that Family Guy skit where the guy's like, he's blind as fuck, and somebody zaps something, and it goes. He goes, I can see, and then it. Oh fuck! He does it again. He goes, oh well, easy come, easy go. He's blind again.
Remember remember Robin Hood Men in Tights? How many are familiar with that film? Fia's not. Oh, she is.
No,
she is.
no, yeah.
It's the bit where the wee blind guy blinking. he falls out of a treehouse, lands on the deck, and he gets up. He's like, oh, I can see, and he runs into a tree and goes, no, I was wrong. It's one of the best things ever.
You know, I referenced that earlier today. How weird is it that you have brought that up?
Oh, cosmic.
Mm-hmm.
We got offered an interview as well with the guy from Men in Tights.
The guy who wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's right.
Not Mel Brooks. There was another writer involved, I'm sure.
See if it was Mel Brooks, man. He's still alive.
I know I can't believe he's still alive. In fact, that's proof that God does exist. Mel Brooks is still alive.
So there's
Just,
people that have.
I was going to say there's something quite interesting about you. You mentioned soulmates, and I did come across a theory of how soulmates are possible, and it is to do with basically the charge, the electrical charge that each person has, and it's deemed that for every as you know, as standardized, for every reaction there's an opposite and equal reaction. So for every individual electrical charge that everybody has, it gives off some electrical charge. It's not very high, it's actually surprisingly tiny. But for every person's charge, there is an equal opposite ionic charge to them, which is why people think that you're naturally drawn to other people. And specifically like a person that's deemed as your soulmate, and it just that's one of the rationales is that person is just the opposite charge to you, to a point why you are so drawn to them that sometimes you don't even have to like the person, sometimes you don't even have to be friends with them, you just have to be utterly drawn to them to a point where it's almost unexcusable and unattainable, but it's just a deep-seated need to be around them.
Oops.
Kevin's got the same electrical charge as every boob.
That makes a lot of sense.
Does.
No, but you're right, because there are people, well, let's look at this, let's break this down a wee bit. In the world of wrestling, right, Vince McMahon would hire you based on your first meeting with him. If you walked into a room and he was drawn to you, this unexplained intangible that creates people, like when someone walks through an airport and everybody goes, they don't know why they stop to look at them, but they do. That would get
Boobs.
you hired, right? And they call that what they boobs high. They call that the X Factor, just that thing.
The je ne sais
Meant to
quoi.
be your vibration, I think they say.
Yeah, same idea.
Like
yeah.
you can't teach it. You either have it or you don't have it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever looks at me.
Oh, complete the heart. Wait, what part are you on the screen?
That's not going to work.
It's not
We've all,
working.
we've all got individual. Right. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Right. So
oh,
I
wait.
need to go. Oh no, I need to go
You're
to your
different.
side. Hang on.
Yes.
Fee, you need to
No,
get closer
Fee.
to the
I
camera.
need to get closer. Wait.
And use your other hand.
Oh wait, but it's the right way for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the wrong way for me,
This is
yeah.
hard.
Yeah,
Oh, we're not
same.
completing it.
Ah.
Oh,
Back you go.
back we go.
We tried.
Next time. Next time we're in person, we'll do it better.
Right. Perfect.
I've seen a few people in life that I've gone, can't quite make out what's special about them, but there's something for sure. So what you're saying there, Kieran, makes complete sense to me.
You talking about me, Kevin?
Aye, and it was the
Yes.
dribble.
Cheers.
Yes.
No, I don't feel so sad about never getting stared at the fucking airport anymore.
There's a guy actually in independent professional wrestling right now who I've went, that's the guy. You'll see him on TV in about 5 years, and I know I'm not wrong. I will send you a picture after this show, right?
It's not that Riddle boy, is it? I don't want to see that again.
Mate, he's already at the top. He's already at the top. No, there's a guy, and I'll show you him. And I'm right. I'm correct. He's Scottish, and I am correct. There's no. I said it about Lewis, and I say it in wrestling about this guy, and I'm spot on with it. And I'll show you. And then in 5 years, we'll look back in the chat, and I'll say, "There he was. I told you." I think sometimes you just know you go, that's.
And I'll be 43 going, I don't care what you've sent me, Kevin. I'm not watching a wrestling video.
Not true. Not true. But I think you're spot on with that, Kieran. It's mad when you think about us as humans and all that we can do. Like when you fall and hurt yourself, instantly you start healing, right? So to think that once you're dead, that's it. It's a hard. And I heard actually someone I used to work with said to me once when I was like, "Aye, man, the fucking ghosts in that." He was like, "No," he said, animals don't have like a belief in something after. He says it's because animals don't fear death. They don't really comprehend it. We do, and that's why we've got to cope with
Yes, they fucking do.
it. Kieran, over to you.
I fucking right. Hang on. Of course they fucking fear death. Why do you think a mouse
Look at me
runs away
running
from a fucking eagle? No, a mouse doesn't look at an eagle and goes, "Ah, he looks quite friendly. Might just see what he's up to." No, mice are shit scared of everything. There's a reason for that because they don't want to die.
Aye. Why do you think every time you see a rabbit, it fucking runs? It's like, oh, that's something bigger than me. That is going to kill me.
Except
Even
if
if you're
you're in
not.
headlights, that phrase. Do you know why? It's because you shock them. They go, "What the fuck is that? Oh wow, I can't see." Bang!
That's
should have
funny thing,
run.
though. That's such a funny thing, though. It's like deer. It's like if you're actually hunting deer and they hear a twig crack, they fuck off. If they've got a 2-ton vehicle moving towards them, they go, "Hello." What's that about?
Ironically enough, the last thing you want to do to a deer is hit it because you'll just get total your car.
Exactly. But also, why is that not the best method for hunting? Just walk about with headlights on. They're going to stop, and you'll just be like,
That's a very good point. I don't know.
I believe
Because
I
Lord,
believe
I think
there
it's
is
because
no.
for some reason, these arseholes that like to go and do that like to wear camo and high-vis vests. And those people are stupid.
Actually, they don't shoot each other.
I know, but who's it? Sorry, you said before we came on that I was going to do this, Kevin. I was going
Is
to
it Bill
divert,
Burr?
and it's not. It wasn't Bill Burr. It was a comedian who said he once asked a hunter, "Was like, why do you guys wear camo and high vis vests?" And the guy said, "Well, it's because deer can't see orange. Not that they're colorblind or." Like, no, they can't see orange. It's like, well, what about all the fucking green and brown?
I'm gonna go check that.
Don't. I guarantee you it's untrue.
And here's another thing. When you go to a spiritualist, they don't say, "Oh, wait a minute. There's 4 ants and 3 of your old goldfish here to see you." They never say that. They just say it's Aunt Peggy. They don't say, "Hey, by the way, just so you all know, a duck's just randomly came in here."
Do you know why? Do you know why your goldfish don't come to see you? Because they're fucking raging with you for flushing them down the bog.
They did. Once you shave their eyebrows off, there's fuck all else to do.
Ah, nice. Nice callback.
J-Mac,
Chose
I'm not going
the
to.
one thing in the animal kingdom that has no eyebrow.
Lovely. I'm not gonna shit all over your comedic content. Deer have two cones within their eye, the brackets that see green and blue, whereas humans have a third one which sees red, which allows us to differentiate. So technically, it's not that they can't see orange; they're just less susceptible to it.
But surely they then look at the guy wearing the high
Thing they
vis vest
can't
and
quite
go,
see. What the fuck
"Wait,
is that?
Wait, why is there a random bit of nothingness walking through the woods? That's strange."
It is quite. I don't know, but it's the same. Like when you're doing looking for bats and stuff. You have a head torch or whatever that's got a red filter over it, like an IR filter kind of thing, because they can't pick it up. So to them, it's still dark, but you can see. It's the same kind of premise as that.
All right.
Go look at that for an example there. So there's shit that we can see that others can't, shit that they can see that we can't. What's to say there's a billion other things already around us, surrounding us, that is afterlife related that we just can't see because we've not got the cones.
So
think
try
that's the
and
thing.
wrap your head around this one, because I've been trying to for a couple of days now. And I was doing it while looking up the notion for the podcast and how to go down the afterlife route. And there's to get to it, you kind of have to differentiate a couple of things. You have to split physical matter to conscious behavior and consciousness and physical thought and all these kind of things. And then you get to the point where you've got. I've spoken about this before, how we've got like different planes, and we think that. Kevin, that was unbelievably sexual, and I don't know why.
Sorry, I just wanted to see if it would work. It did.
It does, but it's quite impressive. I like it in a weird way.
Check us out.
Why do you say
Because you're
that?
worth it, L'Oreal. So you've got like the different planes of existence. How like there's things that are 1D, which is just a technical point, and then you've got 2D, which is a straight line followed by 2 points on either side. The 2D thing can see the 1D, but the 1D can't see the 2. Same idea. We are 3D, so we can see things that are two-dimensional. We see length and height. We don't actually see. We just think things are far away because they're small, but we can't actually see that. Which means that there's something above us that's 4 dimensions that we can't see. But a 4-dimensional object is a thing called, should I get this? A tesseract, technically what it is, but...
Tesseract, did you say?
That's what it said.
Yeah.
Is that not what Captain America was looking for?
Yeah, right. So it's a thing that humans, we physically cannot comprehend what this looks like. So we have a 1D thing, which is just a dot, okay? A 2D shape is a line, or a square, technically. A square is 2D. A cube is 3D because it has height, length, and depth. A tesseract, which is 4D, has each side, so each individual side, which is technically 16 sides, but each of those 16 sides is a 3-dimensional shape. So it's like cube within cube within cube within cube within cube within cube, because we can't comprehend that because it's not within our realm of understanding to know how those objects can interact with each other. Which means that theoretically, which is what I think we spoke about in the past, to do with Sasquatches and things like that, how they're different astral projections and astral planes, is that the upper consciousness where we go after we die is into this 4th dimension that sometimes slips back into the 3rd where we can see, which we see as ghosts. And there's like a really long-winded tale of how all that happens, but that's the general premise of it.
So what you're saying is they're not actually dead?
No, you just transcend. Again, it's what J-Mac was saying. You can't transcend until you've hit your final point and you get to all these things. It's the transcendence into the next realm. And that's just a theory, but I quite liked it.
Yeah. It's like the Mayans. They said that, how they just disappeared. They said it's because they transcended. They raised their frequency so high, they just disappeared, so we can't actually see them, but they're still there, but they're just on a different plane to us.
No one ever found the Mayans.
Spanish flu. Spanish flu.
The Mayans
Introduction to
or
Spanish
the
flu from Eastern culture fucked them up. Spanish, Incas.
Incas,
all
that's
these
the word.
kind
Uh-huh.
The Incredible Incas. Somebody read their horrible histories, eh? The Incas were no fucking. They weren't cool, man. In fact, I've still got horrible histories.
Can you still get Lynx Inca? That was a thing for a while.
Like spray? Lynx
Yeah.
body spray? Huh?
You get Lynx Africa is still around.
Do you remember the chocolate one in the advert used to like turn the guy into chocolate, then all the women would like be chasing him?
Dark temptation,
Yes.
and it smells fucking
Yeah.
beautiful.
It is still nice, aye. I had a teddy bear once that smelled like chocolate.
Just a little side note. I only
White
lovely.
eat it.
Excellent. Just a little side note.
Janice.
Janice, hi.
Hey,
Just a little side note. We
legend.
were talking about Incas. I seen this as a joke years ago by Billy Connolly, and I never believed it was real, so I had to look it up. But there was two sets of tribes within South America at one point. There was the Incas, and then there was the Wankers. And that's actually what they're called. There was the Wankers.
And then there was the other Guz.
Yep. They're called the Quechua people between the Montano Valley. So they actually existed. They really existed. They were real people.
What a bunch of wankers.
Wankers, Incas, and what Guz? What are they again?
Chuggers. No.
That is an epic save, Kieran. Thank you very much.
What do you think I meant?
I'm not telling you because I know what you meant.
No, exactly. I went with
I think we all know what you meant. Well, certainly me and Kieran did.
Yes.
And is that because we are horrible human beings that will never make it to the sun?
You'll never transcend. You ain't meeting no Incas.
Not a
My
chance.
Inca.
Well, I'm actually a descendant. I'm a descendant of one of those tribes. I'm a stinker.
God
God damn, that was bad.
No, I like that. Stinker.
So,
But that whole kind of again, that's another religious theory of their belief in the sun god and like the harvest and all this sort of stuff like that. That's a whole other kettle of fish.
I have a question, and I'm going to put it to Kieran first because I think Kieran will probably have the most Kieran answer about it. Do you think that if you have a near-death or death experience, you know, some people like their heart will stop on the operating table and stuff, and such and such will happen, this will happen. Do you think that your experience on that bed or wherever you happen to be is something to do with your indoctrination as a young person, even if you are a non-believer?
I'm going to go with 50-50.
Right.
And the reason why I'll say that is because there are people, very well respected people that have had near-death experiences and had that as their moment of finding religion. And after that, they came out like, I met God, or I met Jesus, or I met the Virgin Mary, or whoever, while I had my near-death experience, and they guided me through it.
She was a virgin when I met her.
A pumped Mary.
Oh, somebody did.
That's fucking one he is. Disgusting. Sorry.
Oh, Joseph's pals. It was fucking one he is.
No way. These have all got gifts, aye? Yeah, right. Yeah, I figured that shit out.
Anyway, so I think that there's kind of a 50-50 split with that. But I think there's also a possibility that could also be people's like rationalization of like, this is the end. Well, I hope there's something, because it's well but fine believing that there's nothing and knowing that there's nothing until the end happens and you're like, fuck, I don't believe in there's nothing now. My life means nothing. Whereas if I suddenly grasp at anything, clutching at straws, and now all of a sudden I have something to gravitas to, then that might give me now a purpose. So I'll give it a kind of 50-50 split. But I also think there are people that have had near-death experiences or have actually died and been dead for, a couple of minutes, whatever, come back and gone, yeah, there's
That's
diddly
true.
squat. Nothing. There's nothing. Black. Just
By the
darkness,
way,
nothing.
Lassie went kayaking, ended up under a rock.
Yeah, she was
drowned
under for ages. Yeah.
To the point where it's like should have been no reason for her to be alive.
No.
Right? And
No.
she said, man, there's some fucked up shit on that other side. It's true. She's saying it's true. Like, I was somewhere else and I was fine. I was in a class time.
She was actually stuck between a rock and a
In a hard place.
Nice. Nice. Well done. Yeah.
Okay, Mike.
So yeah,
Scoop-dee whoop. Whoop-dee scoop-dee, scoop-dee whoop.
Well, that's
that?
yeah.
I'm going to tell you something that I never thought I'd say on the podcast, but I believe I have had multiple experiences of near death or death through circumstances that I won't talk about on here.
Oh, you can't do that. Shite bag, man.
No, I can, and I will.
Fair.
But my experiences have made me believe that there are universes in which I did die, and that my loved ones and stuff are living life without me, probably enjoying the fuck out of it, and and there is the one that I'm in now, where something somewhere has decided that no, it is not your time to go yet. And the experiences I had of, oh fuck, this is weird. I felt myself leaving, like, but it doesn't feel like this kind of sunshine and rainbows, popcorn and chewing gum thing about, oh, I saw a light and I could see all my loved ones. It was nothing like that for me. For me, it felt like I got literally sucked out of my body. Not in a good way.
Giggity.
Literally sucked out, and I could see the world, or could see the room I was in disappearing beneath me. And then this is going to sound fucking nuts. And then I ended up in some kind of almost like elasticated bubble where didn't matter what direction I pushed in, I ended up just turning myself in circles. What are you fucking laughing at?
Yeah, I'm fucking stuck in here, man. Like a hamster ball.
The stupid wee giggle. And like I got stuck in this. It's almost like a membrane of nothingness.
Like an
that I'm trying to
amniotic sac.
that I'm trying to burst my way out of. And I've come back to where I began and literally went and I don't know. I think there are many universes where I have fucked up a lot of lives by leaving it too early.
Would I mean, I'm not gonna. I know of a potential theory that might bring a bit of light to that. If you want,
Go for it.
So, Fee, we spoke about this on your podcast a while ago, and it kind of all leads into this. So there's the way that we know about the observable universe, turns out is utterly wrong for the most part. And with that, so for what we know at the moment, that there is a theoretical infinite number of universes. Within that, there is a theoretical infinite number of black holes that have already intaken a theoretical infinite number of universes, which within that is a theoretical infinite number of black holes. So there's like this infinite probability of suitable habitat for your conscious, right? And there's it was a guy from, where was he from? It was a university in America somewhere. Some psychology professor that was talking about it, and it's basically this rationalization of where we are at now, because there are so many infinite parallel universes that run in continual time frames with each other. They're just not in the same spatial location, but that's irrelevant. that every time you almost call it, I'd either die or you don't, your consciousness either has the ability to switch to another plane where you are still continuing, or you are basically just deducting another rationalized choice within one of the other infinite parallel universes. And that each one of them has an infinite number of choices, and each choice that you make in this one doesn't necessarily, because you could have got up this morning and had toast instead of cereal, but there's somebody else that had cereal instead of toast, and each of those individual choices lead back to the final result at the end.
I'm a fat fuck. I had both.
That's that would take up a lot of RAM though for the world. Do you know, Hank?
Well, that's why it's just fuck, man, don't go down that route. I say to deal with that route tonight. So so that sort of rationalization, there is a cognitive thought as to how that feeling is possible while still continuing the life that you have now with the potential knowledge of what may have happened.
Right. It's fucking terrifying,
Just a bit,
scary
yeah,
as
just
well.
a bit.
So
Fear.
I'm 100% convinced that I've died multiple times in multiple universes, but for some reason I'm back here. I must be meant to do something. I'm here to do something. Whatever.
You're
it might
here.
be.
You're here to make sure that this podcast wins an award, son. And until we do so, you can't go ahead dying with us.
Well, here's to this fucking podcast never winning an award.
You've got until you're 87 to get the award.
True. And if we win
Maybe
it, and he
it's the
falls down the
stairs.
stairs.
It's the stairs at the award show. He falls down and dies.
If I make it to 87, anytime I see stairs, I'm going to be like, hey, Kev, can you try and bring that noise in again?
Okay, just say when.
Go. I've just realised that's a fart.
I swear that's not what I heard the first time.
Yeah.
How
It's a stupid noise. Like, do it again.
It's a fart with extra reverb.
Oh, is it the one through the tannoy system? It is. It's the one through the tannoy system.
Oh,
Yeah.
not the famous one, but it might be through.
No.
It's
But it's through our tannoy, yeah.
probably. It's got extra reverb on it.
So yeah, essentially you three are talking to a potentially dead person in many other universes. So.
But then we could all be dead, no? So imagine.
But
it's
that's the
like,
same.
maybe-
That's the same for you. It's the same for me. Same for
Aye.
Fee. Same for Kev. That each one of us all have that possibility all of the time.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've got a feeling that Fee's on her first shot.
How?
Oh, really?
Aye, don't know why. I just get that impression. I think you're on your first time round. According to Daniel Jackson, me, Kev, and Kieran are all on like 27 of 28 or something.
I believe I was
Yeah.
still the youngest.
No,
though. I was
no,
still the youngest.
me and we were on 20, and he was one behind. I think.
Aye.
I don't
Yeah.
feel like I've conquered enough land to sort of fulfill my
Yeah.
Maybe you did in your first couple times round, and that's why
Maybe,
we all
maybe.
refer to you now as a Viking.
maybe
Maybe you
possibly.
conquered too much and they're like, can't get back down there and sort this out. Give me the knife.
In all fairness, I've travelled quite a lot. I've travelled quite a bit.
Yeah, and I've
Aye.
seen pictures of you when you were young because I didn't keep your Facebook on it.
I don't have it. It's all right. In you go.
Doesn't have a Facebook.
I saw a photo of you when you were younger, and your image has changed drastically over the last 10
His
years.
hair and facial hair grew.
No, facial shape, everything. It is
Everything.
really quite
It's
bizarre.
like if I bumped into him, if him and younger him walked into the room, I'd think they were different people.
Yeah, and I have to admit,
He used to be
I-
black.
I look.
Inca.
Secrets out now. Cheers, Jay.
Ah, that bit of Ligo, it's a bastard, isn't it?
Aye. Oh well. Miracle of
Jackson.
bleach.
No, I think we could have all been someone in a past life. Let's take a stab at it. Oh, we've got some comments, ain't it? Janice says all things exist simultaneously. She also says, I had an experience back in 1993. I was 2-year-old. I saw what I interpreted as an angel. Janice, get that comment section loaded up with that story, hen. We're gonna take a ride. On the wild
Have any of
side.
you?
If everything is infinite, there can be no first time.
And
always has been.
if anything,
That's
hang
it.
on a minute.
That
Hang
says
on a minute.
infinite. I
You
said
just
infinite.
said, if
You
we
said
watch this back, which we will,
infinite.
you will see if everything is infinite.
But it fits perfectly.
And then it's got to be out of it as well.
It's always been and always will be. It's for fuck's sake. Yeah.
That's like me in every text conversation. Fucking predictive text.
So if everything is infinite, there can be no first time. But how did it get infinite? It needed to start somewhere.
What
See,
came
this
first,
is the
chicken or
thing.
egg?
But it didn't.
This is the whole
It
thing.
didn't.
Well, the answer is quite clearly egg. That's the answer
Then
is
what
egg.
laid the egg though?
Something
Did
that wasn't genetically a chicken.
Ah.
Yeah. So I think what happened was a chicken evolved from a T-Rex.
Imagine this poor thing lays this thing that is never laid before, and a chicken came out. It's like, what the fuck is that?
I know what happened. I know what happened. There's a velociraptor, and it met Phil Schofield. Next thing you know, the chicken.
Allegedly.
They got a button.
Yeah, no
for that.
proof was
Allegedly.
given. No proof was given.
Part of the chicken.
I don't know. You've got a point, but the thing is,
Hi, Phil.
everything exists at once. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it technically does, but then time is not a linear construct as much as we should be. So it is linear in a sense of you think of from start to finish, but it's not linear when you put time as a variance against spatial availability and all that. So yeah, kind of, it's not all one thing, but there has to be a gradual increase in classification of time, hence why you grow old, but not situationally, which is what I was saying, is like space-time and all this. Situationally, everything coexists at the same time, but time still passes.
Doesn't that mean then that there is no such thing as free will, and that everything we do is...
Oh, there is no such thing as free will. There's no such thing as free will. That was proven. Free will does not exist. Your brain, because your brain. So there was a study. I can't remember where it was from. Go back and listen to what was Fee's old podcast, and I actually did. I remember talking about what it actually was. But the free will is the rationalization that you can make a choice based off of understanding. But there was a study conducted where reading brain mapping on people's choices, yes, no, up, down, all simple choices. But before hearing the question, able to make judgment calls and decision making before they heard the question. So if you can't hear the question, you can't make a decision. So you're not choosing what your brain is telling you to do, because your subconscious and conscious don't work hand in hand. Subconsciously, you remember to breathe and eat, digest, things like that. But consciously, you move your arm, you move your hand. But conscious decision making and subconscious are not the same, and your free will is conscious decision and not subconscious.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Got another thing here. It says, time's a concept in our mind. 5 minutes for me could be an eternity for you. I think 5 minutes is if say the bus is going to be 5 minutes and we're both sitting there, I reckon the bus shows up in 5 minutes. No.
But if you enjoy Coronation Street, 5 minutes for you is an eternity for me.
Fuck, I've got an answer for this as well. Oh.
Fee,
So-
Fee, that's a really unfortunate position to hold your pen in. I'm just saying.
I actually just pinned myself in the face. I done it the wrong way, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh man.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a thing called, well, obviously space-time is a variance of how much time affects you while you travel through space. That's how we know of the effect of time. And then you have the twin paradox, which is if you have two twins, leave one on Earth and one on a rocket, you fire one on a rocket just to go straight up for 10 years and back for 10 years. They've experienced 20 years, but because they're traveling faster than the one stationary, they experience time at a slower rate. So it's 10 years to them, but it's probably somewhere in the region of 2,000 to 3,000 to the one on Earth. Because that's how time affects you very differently. So you can have two twins born at the exact same time, which is theoretically impossible. Well, let's say you have a C-section, they literally both at the same time, right? and each one of them has different lives. One has international travel more than the other, but they're both. So, see, when they're both born, they're both given the most strategically accurate pocket watch. That was a present as soon as they're born, and it doesn't run on batteries, doesn't run on movement. It just exists. It does time perfectly for them. If one has more international travel, one travels about more, one does, and one's more stationary. The one that has not moved around as much, their timepiece will be slower than the one that has. It
I've
may
got
be
the slower
more.
one. Just
It'll be
saying.
marginal. It will be marginal because in that sort of answer, it's not enough. It'll be like a few hundredths of a second out, but it is marginal enough that each person does experience time differently. So the best way to explain that without is if you're going past, you're on a train, and on every train station there's a clock, right? For
What?
you, so on every train station there's a clock.
Oh, cool.
There's probably a
That's got it in
clock
the heat,
not
man.
attached to a person, but there's a clock on the train. So if your train's going past this thing at 60 mile an hour, right, firing through the station, and there's a guy stood on the platform looking at the clock as well. For the light to get from his eyes to the clock and back is less time than it takes for your eyes to go from you to the clock and then back to where you are on the train to you to still see the clock. So the time for that time to happen has been longer, but you've both experienced what would be classed as 1 second, but it's not because you've experienced that in a longer time frame.
Fuck.
Sorry, guys.
I need to write that on my MySpace. Janice hits us here with a reveal. So Janice says, I was driving and my 2 toddler sons, aged 3 and 4, in the car with me. It started raining. I lost control while waiting there.
Do you want me to do this?
No, that's it. Lost control while going down a hill and went off the road. I hit a utility pole, which snapped it. I floated out of my body and saw what looked like an angel holding my car from the top and guiding it. There wasn't a scratch on either of my sons. I had damage to my knees. The angel looked back at me as if to say, it's not your time yet. Come back.
Oh,
That's
Wow,
insane.
thank God for that. That's our one viewer.
Janice, an angel stopped you from dying, did she? Aye. What does she look like? Give us a little
Philip
rundown.
Schofield.
Aye, there's 2 wee boys in the back of the car, and the angel went for Janice.
Allegedly.
Bomber says, psychedelics prove that time is in the mind. People have reported feeling that they have experienced a lifetime in 20 minutes. Aye, that's shrooms.
No, I heard that. Have
well-
any of you guys ever seen the video of Ari Shafir taking
Yes.
salvia?
yes.
Wow. He lived for
He had an
in the
alternative
space of
life.
in the space of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He lived for what he described for around 6 months
Yeah.
in an underwater civilization.
He had a wife. No, he had a wife. He had kids. Yeah, no, genuinely. I thoroughly recommend you look this up. Yeah.
Aye.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. But not at the same time. Like there's a bit of me that goes, he actually did that.
Yeah.
Whatever that substance that he took
Yeah.
enabled his consciousness or his soul or whatever you want to call it to experience a different life
Sorry.
for what in this universe was 15 minutes, but in the universe he went to was at least 6 months.
Maybe
And
he's
It's
just fucking
giving
shite.
me like Avatar vibes, where he's like plugged into something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
The
so
Matrix.
it's like that.
So-
But when he came back from it, he was in bits. Like he didn't know
No.
how to deal with coming back.
He got so used to his life, he was like, what the hell am I doing here?
My God.
I know.
And that was what, half an hour?
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
A salvia trip is a bit like DMT,
but it's
like
on
a
another
10,
level.
10, 15 minute trip. And
But
in
it
fact,
wa-
salvia sounds even more intense than
It is,
I remember
it's
going to a
next
gardening
level.
centre trying to find salvia once for one of my friends, and we were like, "Hi, Gran needs a salvia plant," and the boys like, "You can't get high off the salvia here, plants."
It's a different thing.
That's what the guy in the gardening
It's
centre
a different thing.
said.
But there is a there is a sort of psychoactive ingredient within a lot of psychedelics and cybacillin and those things that alter
Cybercillin.
Psilocybin.
That's the one. Well, you got it. Aye, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it alters your neurological pathways. And again, that's one of the things it does. It alters your time perception. But the fact that he was able to remember it for so vividly, and was so emotionally attached to it, that when he came back, it actually broke him, completely broke him.
So he's away for 15 minutes, right? Which he believes to be 6 months, and yet he's got kids. How do you get kids in 6 months?
It's an underwater society, man.
All right.
Sea monkeys procreate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Do psychoactive substances alter your perception of time or correct your perception of time? That's the weird question. This podcast is going in so many different directions.
It's all relative to the afterlife. It really is.
It totally is. It totally comes down to how we perceive life and how we perceive death. Is death actually death?
No,
I don't think it is. My thing about the afterlife is scientifically it is proven and it is known that. Thank you very much, Janice. It is proven and it is known that energy cannot disappear. It cannot die. It just redistributes.
Thermodynamics.
So when you die, the energy that's in you, say, like hypothetically, it's your soul. It has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So it cannot just die. It cannot just disappear. It cannot just not exist anymore. So whatever is in your consciousness, in your heart, the heart's another thing, by the way. This is a big can of worms.
That's where it goes, pretty much.
Essentially, we can never die. That's the beauty of the whole thing. We as an energy can never die, and that makes you raise a question. Well, where do we go once this vessel that we're in gives up? We
Isn't
have to
that
go somewhere.
a principle of like Catholicism? Then everlasting life, you then go to heaven for everlasting life. So that's kind of the same sort of thing.
But absolutely, and see if heaven is real. Fucking bring it on, right?
Heaven is a place on earth. That's what I heard.
But Belinda
Heaven is a half pipe.
4 p.m.
So, I mean, I think maybe religion, it gets certain things right, but then unfortunately human beings get their hand on it and it gets twisted and interpreted into ways that they want you to follow to essentially benefit the people that come up with that shit. Like, for example, the Jehovah's Witnesses, it's like they live their whole lives so that they can please 8 guys that live in New York. And that's disturbing. Scientology was written, the whole theory of Scientology was written by a guy who said, if you want to make $1 million, start a religion. He fucking said that. L. Ron Hubbard said that. If you want to make money, start a religion. He started a religion, made money. And these fucking idiots, I love you, Tom Cruise. Fuck you for Scientology. I don't even know where I'm going with this. The whole thing is, people, you can believe what you want to believe. There must be a truth somewhere. There is no such thing as there is no such thing as my truth. There is no such thing as someone else's truth. There is the truth. And unfortunately, I don't think any of us in the vessels that we are in are ever going to experience the truth.
Unless you take Sylvia.
I don't know, man. I'm not into the underwater thing. I switch off films if they say underwater. I get bored.
I like it. Waterworld?
Except Waterworld, that's fucking
right.
awesome.
Thank you very much, Kim Costner. They make you think and focus faster. The faster you think and focus, the slower time moves. Psychedelics make you aware of the moment.
So the next time my boss says, Jordan, I need this done quick, I'll be like, get some mushrooms, mate. I'll get it done for you in a minute.
Well, here's the thing. So the stuff that's like psychedelics, they all come from the earth, right? So they were there to be eaten.
Yeah.
100% agree. The fact that you can take something that grows naturally and go, that's against the law, is
Yeah,
no.
but there's also stuff that grows naturally that will kill you instantly. Well, I understand the kind of control to an extent. I don't agree with if it's no harm in it. Yeah,
if
there's
it's
no
going
harm.
to exactly, if it's going to kill you as a direct result of ingesting it, don't make it illegal, but certainly make people aware that don't. But if there's something that might enhance your life in some way, why make it illegal? I have no
Money. Hey, by the way,
Yeah. Me and
So,
Kieran actually spoke about that before, didn't we, Kieran? On an episode.
if it's really,
control.
that's what gets me about wee Ari, right? And as soon as I'm done with this episode, I'm binging his experience, right? But if he's like, there's nothing worse that I can think of. Like, you go on this type of psychedelic, you come off, and you've got to experience losing your family and everything you know, even though whether it was real or not. But to experience that loss
Yeah.
because it was real to you, god damn it. To experience that, that must be a stinger. Like
that exactly, because when he went into that state, he was basically just with a bunch of friends, and they were like, right, let's get you doing this, and he did it. He took 2 hits of this stuff.
It's a movie, by the way.
When he came back from it, he literally lashed out at everybody. Like, you could see him; he was flailing his arms and legs everywhere.
Yeah.
He did not want to be back.
No.
And it's terrifying and intriguing at the same time. It makes you go, well, did he experience something that was a lot better than what he's experiencing on this plane of capitalism and nonsense?
it's kind of like Labyrinth, eh? Sarah, like she goes into Labyrinth, meets all these people, comes out, and at the end of it, you're going, you've been on that journey where you're like, and they're like, we'll always be here. Oh, we'll always be here if you should need us. Once she comes out, yeah. It's like, oh man, no, she's gone back to her own life. It's kind of that.
Yes,
That's quite gutting.
Try to fit back in.
Exactly. And I think that there's probably a happy medium to find between this realm and another one. Like, if you could have the things that you've got in this realm that make you happy, and the other things in the true realm that are, you know what I mean? The things that just are.
Yeah.
And the things in this life that make you happy, if you could smash them together, you're on.
I think a lot of the genuine happiness and contentness, I think, within life comes from accepting things, accepting that obviously there's some things you don't want to accept and things that you want to try and change. But if you accept it and stop trying to fight the internal turmoil and battle that releases obviously stress and things like that make you hate the world and the life you have just now, that sort of acceptance kind of diminishes that. I'm not saying that that's what everyone should do, is just accept what they've got and get on with it, but I'm saying like that, but there's things that you can come to terms with that maybe will help.
Here, what if it's like this? What if it's like the minute you're born, you get stuffed in an incubator like in the Matrix, they put this thing into your arm, which is basically salvia, and we all experience the same trip, and that's why it's like when you're almost out of it, right? There's an angel appears and is like, oh, look, the wee drip in the arms fell out. It's no your time yet. Fucking back in you go. You plug back in.
If all this is a trip, I'm getting on to ABTA because I'm getting my fucking money back. Because there's a lot of shit in this realm.
Wonder if this is atoll protected.
I meant atoll. Shit. I said, what's ABTA?
APTA.
ABTA. ABTA. ABTA.
The stuff that can kill you is legal.
Oh, no.
ABTA,
the Travel Association.
Plants are
Oh, nice.
So it must be, there's ABTA and there's atoll. It's two of the same thing, basically.
Bless you, mate.
Thanks, man. I wasn't really religious, but I'll take it.
It's not that kind of blessing.
So
I believe they said that back in the days because you'd get burnt as a witch because you didn't have any control of your body.
Yeah.
A witch! He sneezed as a witch. Bless you, bless you. Get away the witch.
Yeah,
stuff.
get away from the witch. Also, have you seen the biblical description of what an angel looks like?
It's terrifying.
Have you ever looked that up?
Go on right now.
Kev, bring it up for the peoples.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're really scary.
It's not a nice description.
No.
Or what the depiction is. It's actually
They're
not
almost
good.
they're almost like demons.
Like Tories.
Worse.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fucking
Not
Angel-
humanoid. Not humanoid in any way.
Oh, like Angel Rees-Mogg.
They've got white as fuck hair and they sit on the sofa this morning.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Here we go. I'm going to bring up these
Fee,
angels.
did you just say allegedly before I did?
No, but I heard something say that as well.
Did you fucking hear that?
Allegedly.
I heard that.
Kev put it through. It's one of the
Oh, right.
God,
Sorry.
Allegedly.
I seen him pressing buttons.
Allegedly.
It creeped me out a wee bit. I didn't want to say anything, but yeah.
What I saw was beautiful. Wasn't
Good.
it an angel hen? That was a devil. Matthew says was kind of what they used in the Nope flick.
Yes. Yeah, same sort of idea. Yeah.
Like
Oh, the
this.
Space Fanny.
Space J-Mac.
Thing is, I love that Kieran knows exactly what I'm talking about.
This here is an angel.
Yeah, that's what they're theoretically
Oh,
depicted
it's
as.
the cosmic minge.
They're not going to miss you in a.
Ghastly.
That's what angels look like.
Yeah,
I bought it.
that's what they're depicted as in the.
Well,
in the Bible.
that one's actually got a face. That last one you had actually had a face.
Aye. Harmine was a compound that was known as telepathine because when people tripped off it, they all had the exact same experience and swore they could reach each other's thoughts. What? I've seen one of
sleep
these.
paralysis. Sleep paralysis. It's the same shit. So many
We
people
accessed that with it.
who have never experienced it, never even knew what it was,
Allegedly.
see the same. Not allegedly, see the same fucking things.
But
And
that's
that
what
is
happens in
makes
REM
it
sleep.
so that's what changed it for me. That's what changed sleep paralysis from being terrifying to being really interesting. Is the
That's
fact that people who have never heard of it,
Yeah.
have the same
The same.
experiences.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the hag was sound then and was just an angel.
It's possible.
Maybe. I had a weird thing happen to me the other night there, and I'd like to know if you guys have an explanation for it. So I was
Do
having,
tell.
Right, so I was having this dream where I was lying in a bed, and it felt like there was someone like giving me a hug, right?
Like
Right.
that.
Shut up, right. And it was really strange. So in the dream, I could feel everything, and it felt real. And then when I woke up, so the side of me, so I was lying on my left side, and the right side of me was out of the covers. That was like burning hot, where like the person was giving me a hug in the dream. But the part of me that was under the covers was cold, like when I woke up.
Oh,
Mm.
So
oh,
Did you know someone that died in the fire?
Yeah. I just thought it was weird because you'd think obviously the part of me that'd be warm would be the part that was under the covers.
Not
I
as
know.
rationally. That's why you've put it outside because it's too hot.
Maybe, but the rest of me was cold, which was under.
Somebody's on fire.
Someday. I don't know.
Something's no sitting right with that.
I know. I feel pain in dreams quite a lot as well. Like I've been shot loads of times in the stomach in dreams.
You
really
are-
strange.
that's the thing. Like through what I've heard in every movie ever, you are not supposed to feel pain in dreams. I've felt pain in dreams many a time.
Yeah, like real pain.
There's certain things you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be able to read in a dream. You're not supposed to be able to see a phone.
What?
Yeah, there's
Where's the
apparently.
proof of that? Who
I don't know.
makes
It's
that
just these are just things that it's just that you're not supposed to do. But I know Michaela does a lot. She tells me about that. She
Well,
actually
get this right.
She
I remember-
remembers text that she's seen in books or
Oh.
whatever in her dreams. She remembers them.
Wow. I remember being in a dream, right? And then going, this is a dream. And then I started riding a bicycle that I didn't have. It was invisible, but I was
lucid
able.
dreaming.
Lucid
I was
dreaming.
well
That's
done.
cool.
I was,
That's
I was
awesome.
like, I'm in control of this shit, right?
Mhm.
Lucid dreaming
I-
is a very powerful tool.
Practice
I
that.
also remember having like such a shit life in one of my dreams where I was like, oh no, everything's shite. And then I went, it's all right, this is a dream. I also remember having everything that made me happy in a dream and went, fuck. I went, no. This is a dream. I've very, very often known I was in a dream.
So a lot
mentally.
of really, really, really successful businessmen, whatever, learn the technique of lucid dreaming, so that when they're asleep, they can still process business ventures
Yeah.
and still go through the planet. Yeah, because it's basically a way to maximize time constraints. So when you're sleeping, you're not just shut off. When you're asleep, you know you're asleep, so you can still plan and process and develop ideas and run things through. It's a really, really powerful tool, lucid dreaming.
Wow. I mean, maybe
There's a trigger. There's ways to trigger it. There was one, I think, one of the most simplistic ways to go to sleep with like a laser pen pointed at something, so that when you go to sleep, you know that it's there. And then when you are in dreamland, because obviously your eyes flutter in and out, and sometimes your eyes open slightly, whatever, you can still see what's going on around you, but you don't really process it. If you are able to focus at any point on that light, you know you're dreaming.
I've always, it just comes a point where I go, no, this is a dream. I'm aware this is a dream. And then I'm like, right, let's just do this. And I'm like, ha, this is cool as shit. I can do
That
this.
is very cool. But that's a really, really, like, if you can teach yourself to, and there's people that like do train to teach people to how to lucid dream.
Yeah. I don't
That's
say
a
it
really,
happens
really big thing.
too often. For me, a lot of dreams, like my dreams will be a reflection of something that's happening in real life.
Mhm.
And then I'll wake up and I'll have this feeling and it'll carry me through that day going,
Well, you're also not supposed to die in your dream. You die in your dream, you die in real life.
well, they say that, but
There's
I
a
remember getting
potential,
shot
yeah.
to fuck in my dream. I didn't
Well,
die.
do you have any birthmarks?
No.
Because there's another theory that a birthmark is how you died in a previous life, and I have one there. I think it is. It's one there and one there. So I've basically been speared.
Aye.
How I've died in my last life.
That would make
apparently.
sense. A Viking war.
I would
possible.
say something about someone I knew with a birthmark, but I'm not going to kind of say it on this. But that would have been a funny death, like. Cool. So, what we'll do is we're just kind of. I mean, we've pretty much gone through everything we planned to go through.
Yeah.
With
There's a lot
regards
to this topic.
I mean, we'll never get it out in one show. J-Mac, are you even still with us?
I think he's temporarily excused himself.
He's went away for a shite.
Probably. Because a pee's back by now if it's just a piss.
I know. And when he does actually come back, we'll just rib him for a day and a shite.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, man. Wait, I know
It
what
was
you
just
doing,
a pee.
Aye, so it was.
It was.
So it was. I truly think there's more to that. And by the way, you need to check out the salvia stuff a bit as well. Like
I don't think it's that easy to get hold of.
garden centre.
I guarantee you can't get it at a garden centre.
I know, I tried. Not for me, it was for my friend. My friend was with me, and they were like that. You're not getting high off of this plant, pal. So that's funny.
So watch me.
I need to get back to the underwater people. Give me my plant.
But
Honestly, man, watch it, and you'll have a different tune after you see his reaction to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's one of those things that's actually quite heartbreaking to watch.
Mhm.
It's the only way I can really explain
Not
it.
funny at all.
Like you watch it, and you're like, I actually feel bad for the guy.
Mm-hmm. And not because the drug did something bad to him. It's because of what happens when he comes back from it.
Yeah, his reaction.
That's a shame.
Terrifying.
Gone. Well, lads, we shall leave this topic here for the night, and we will most definitely resume. Oh, yes, Ash Price is coming on the podcast. Just awaiting him to confirm the date that we've set, but that should be fun, and we'll maybe look towards getting something live with him also. But yes, he's going to come on, and we're going to pick his heat, man. How'd you do that card trick, man? Show us something. Show us. And we'll get his theory on what he thinks is what deed folk, nay folk. But he's right in it all.
Very interesting guy.
So that'll be a fun episode, and that'll be very soon once he gives us a thumbs up on the proposed date. But the next Paranormal Platter episode should feature Ash Price. Go and check him out, and make sure you fucking hit the subscribe and all that fun stuff. And we will see you guys on the flip side. Aye, for real. So thank you all for joining us again tonight. The the co-hosts and co-hosts. What's a female co-host?
A co-hostess.
Co-hostess Our
It's okay, we can be neutral nowadays, guys, remember? It's okay.
Alright, Kofi.
Coffee, I love that. Coffee!
Coffee. Yes, and thank you for everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next week. I've got a new wee outro here, just like the intro. So enjoy the premiere of our new outro. Stick right to the end. And we shall see you guys next week. Thank you very much. Thanks, all of you. Thank you, guys.
Au revoir.
See you next week.
Next time.
Tatty bye.
See you next week. Phil.
Thank you for listening to Paranormal Power with Kev, J-Mac, Kieran, and Fee in association with Jibber Jabber Podcast. You can watch future episodes live on Facebook Live and YouTube. You can also catch up on our previous episodes on Audible, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other podcast database. Don't forget to check out our website at www.jibberjabberpodcast.com. Good night and sleep tight.